It's Eagles once again. We are about to witness history today. Will we have a Chiefs three-peat, or will the Eagles stamp their place as this year's Super Bowl winner? Gino Bacola alongside Eric from ETOF 21 Sports. Eric, we've made another football season, man. And so we've previewed the game a couple times already. If you're joining us now, we're going to have some fun. We're going to give you out our plays for today, how we have some action. But I'm going to also remind everyone out there a few different ways you can have action. Because today, Eric, I've got like 3 different Super Bowl square pools. I've got like some props I'm in. I've got like a fantasy lineup or 2. We've got like parlays going on. But there's also action at Santa Anita. This is a game that you have won before. The Pick'em contest that they have, only free contest to enter. Pick'em.santanita.com. Now, today at Santa Anita, all of the racetracks run their races early. So that way nothing is going on during the Super Bowl. So every track starts early. Their races are totally done by the time the Super Bowl hits. So it's a perfect like lead right in to the Super Bowl. The races start at 2:00 Eastern time at Santa Anita. There's a pick 6 carryover today, 53,000. They think it's going to be around a $500,000 pool if you want to get involved.
And that's not a jackpot, right?
Nope, not a jackpot. And it's a $2 base. So it's a little tougher to play, but not a jackpot. You don't have to be the only one in order to still hit for a nice score. And then you have these contests. If you go to pick'em.santanita.com and then you just fill out your entry, it's free. You don't even have to put any credit card or anything in. You just give them some of your information, and then you just fill this out. And there's 15 questions today, Eric, instead of 12, a few extra, but a lot of them. First touchdown, national anthem, most receiving yards, the actual spread of the game, longest field goal. I mean, this is almost all Super Bowl props today. So anyone that's watching the game, that's playing the game, just go do that. Go fill this out. It is absolutely free. You could win $3,000 today. Put in a little pick 6 carryover ticket. You know, you've got an opportunity there. And then one more thing I wanted to show everybody just before we get into it, because this is kind of new. You can go to drf.com now, which is where people go for all their horse racing news. And now if you click on the top where you see there's a sports betting section, it'll take you right to this area where it'll give you reviews on all the different sports books, FanDuel, DraftKings, Fanatics, Caesars. It tells you star ratings. You can click on them. You can find out, can you play? What kind of promos do they have? What kind of bonuses did they have? You can also go to news and check out, any kind of updates they have on what's happening in the big game. I believe one of these we can click on. Let's see. I think was this me? One of these I'm actually doing the analysis of the write-up too. So, and we might be able to get Eric doing some write-ups in here very soon also. So just some extra resources for everybody today. Extra ways you can get a little bit of action. I think it was over here where I am. Let's see. So Eric, one final time today, my friend. You ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready, man. Excuse me.
So a couple ways we can help you out there with drf.com if you need some extra help with extra news. And then maybe you can win $3,000 today in those pick'em contests. On the Hornets Lakers trade being axed. I know we're going to talk that today. But you know what, Eric? That's kind of a weird one because I'm like frustrated because we wanted the big man. But if the guy's not healthy, then I definitely didn't want to be locked up with him. And I'd rather go in a different direction. So mixed feelings. Like I'm bummed because it felt like, that was like a piece they were missing that they really could have used. But if the guy physically can't do it, then I didn't want to be locked up to him either. I'd rather go get Dalton Connect in the pick back, and maybe you can use that in the summer. Maybe you can get a buyout guy or two. I love the way they're playing right now, but, I don't think you want to go take a shot on a young guy who's already had a bunch of injury issues, right?
Oh, yeah. If he's not 100% and like there's seriously some issues about him, you definitely don't want him. It's going to be interesting to see how this affects the
buyouts,
market.
right?
No, the market for GMs looking to do business with the Hornets in the future. I mean, if the guy's not
right,
God, I can't talk. If the guy isn't healthy, you got to kind of
trust
as a GM,
right?
Kind of say, hey, you know what? I understand, but you know what? This is what's going on. Maybe get a discounted trade. But to get that much return and to send damaged goods, not a good look for the Hornets.
Okay, Eric, let's get on into it, my friend. Today, we're going to start the game. Where are we going to start the game going for a first touchdown? Because that's going to be the first thing that happens. So you and I like to throw one of those in. Where are you going today for your first touchdown score of the game?
Devontae Smith. This is my guy, my rider guy today. I'm all
because that's your like the way that you're handicapping this game. You think it's going to be a kind of a Hurts, but mainly a Smith game because you're sort of looking at who the Chiefs are going to try to stop, right?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to look to take away A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, and Hurts' legs. This is going to open stuff up, for Devontae Smith in the passing game. Absolutely love him in this matchup.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Worthy. Just sort of looking at the way that things have been built. Kelsey is going to be someone I feel like the Eagles are going to do their best to try to eliminate, at least early in the game. And it's not as if the Chiefs have the most potent running game. What they've been doing since Pacheco hasn't really been able to, I think since his injury, they haven't really had that same sort of running game, and it's been leaning on Hunt a little bit more, but they are using some of the short passing game a little bit more too, and they were getting a lot more guys involved last week. So I'm going to go to Worthy, Eric, for my first tutty. Worthy for me, Smith for you, and so neither one of them are really chalky. We're both pretty good value for both of our first tutties, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if one of these were able to get home.
And for the full game, you don't really have to play much because you have a future on the Eagles locked in as far as the side of the game here. If the Eagles win, you're in really good shape. You're in the opportunity where you can kind of wait and maybe even play a really nice plus money number on Kansas City.
My goal right now is I'm sitting on the Eagles plus 1,500 to win it all. I'm not looking to get involved in this and to hedge out until the Chiefs get to 2-1 or better. That's just kind of my position. I am very, very, very prop heavy.
Is it real quick? Are you surprised at all, even just based on like perception and narrative and stuff, that we're kind of back to like almost a pick 'em? Like it moved a good amount yesterday to pick 'em. We're slightly leading Chiefs. Are you surprised that this is where the number is and it wasn't closer to like Chiefs -3 just based on them being the Chiefs? Or does this feel right to you?
I mean, it's always it's one of those things. Everyone has their little models that they put up and everything. And when you do the models, obviously the Eagles are going to come out ahead just because from top to bottom, they do have the better roster.
Way more well-balanced.
Yep. On the flip side of that, when you look at the three most important things, special teams, quarterback, coaching, that's where the Chiefs obviously have the advantage. And, then there's all the trends with the Mahomes as a 3-point underdog or less. But again, I think the big thing comes down to pre-snap motion. Chiefs are one of the best in the league running an offense. Eagles are one of the best in defense stopping it. Which one is going to win that clash? Whoever wins that clash is going to win the game. And can the Eagles run the ball? I mean, they have yet to give up a 100-yard rusher. The Chiefs do for God knows how long. I'm interested to see how the refs call the game.
This is a great point that you've made. I like this because
I was talking to someone last night, and they are adamant that if the Eagles get up, the Chiefs will get some help from the officials. Just adamant.
Or maybe the opposite way, like you were kind of pointing out the other day, right? Do you think they kind of overreact? The Chiefs, the
nature, and if
cover your bases, you don't want to go out there and have people think you're biased. So the first couple calls are like the either or calls might go to the Eagles the first few.
Yep. So I don't know. Like my whole thing with the refs, and I know there's like this big conspiracy thing. No one can keep a secret. If that really was going on, someone would say something by now.
Me too. There's never like the big conspiracy things that are like that. You know how many people have to stay quiet, like you said. Yeah. And I will point out, as we'll get into our props right now, you and I are, avid gamblers. We're betting every day, different sports, all these things. Sometimes, like, we can get a little, not cynical, but like our job is to poke holes in the favorites. Like our job is to find why won't the favorites win? That if you're a gambler, that's like your first job. It's not, I'm going to go bet the favorite. I need to find a winner. It's why won't the team that's supposed to win or the team that's valued to win win. That's like where do you start? And then sometimes you can't find a reason, so you sit out or you play something else. But I do think we don't get a lot of opportunities to bet the Chiefs or to kind of talk positively about them, because usually, the Chiefs -7.5. We're playing whoever plus 7.5. I just want to spend 1 minute giving them a little bit of credit, because I don't think you and I get a chance to do that too often. Like, what we're seeing right now is so incredible. We've never seen it, literally, in the NFL. We've never seen a team be in this position to three-peat. We've never seen someone like Mahomes kind of be able to pull it out late, read Mahomes, that combination as good as the Brady and Belichick combination. So right before we kind of dig some holes again in them and talk about reasons why we think they may get beat, or, some negatives, just got to give positives, because, man, in this era of sports where players are changing all the time and it's so hard to win back-to-backs, just watching this, I think we forget about how sometimes we're watching greatness as it happens. I mean, we've got them, LeBron still scoring 40 points he's 40 years old. We are seeing some awesome stuff happening right now between these Chiefs, what's happening in basketball with some of our favorite older players like Durant, even LeBron, Curry, they're still there. I like to take a minute and, as we get a little bit older, say, wow, Eric, this is something we may never see again.
It's going to be hard. I mean, when you really look at what they're able to do by keeping literally everybody together, and I mean, let me rephrase that. The main people on the coaching staff, Spags not leaving is huge.
That's the biggest key, right?
I really feel if Spags would have left, then this wouldn't be happening. Him staying there, being content with just being a DC and winning, kind of speaks volumes of what they're able to do.
Compare that to your Lions this year. You lost both your coordinators, right?
I'm having a hard time on my voice today. With the Lions, they lost both their coordinators. How's that going to turn out? But, you got to give them props. We've never seen this begun. This could be history before our eyes.
Okay, Eric, some of your plays today. What have you locked in for props or anything you might be looking or waiting for?
So what do you want to do? Me do one,
yeah,
you do one?
You do one and we'll go back and forth. Yeah, that sounds good.
Kareem Hunt, anytime tutty, plus 140, proven playoff performer. Hunt has scored a touchdown in 6 games. He's played in 6 games. So every single game he has played in, he has scored a tutty. Leads the Chiefs in carries, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, yards per attempt, and has a 44% carry share during the playoffs. Red zone dominance, leads the Chiefs in red zone carries this postseason. Led the Chiefs during the regular season in red zone carries, 15th most in the league, and rushing touchdowns. Top the Chiefs in carries inside the 5-yard line during the season, 9th most in the league. Pacheco has some injury concerns. While Pacheco made a great effort to return from a fractured fibula in week 2, he is not fully recovered, lacks the power or burst. Strong finish to the season. Hunt has looked more explosive as the season's progressed, positioning him as a key contributor in these high-level situations. Give me Kareem Hunt anytime tutty.
I'm going to go one of the sack props, Nolan Smith to record a sack. It's actually floated back up a little bit to plus 108. I think that's a really nice number. He has 4 in the 3 playoff games. He leads the team with 15 pressures during the playoffs. There are a couple weak spots on the Chiefs offensive line I think he'll be able to find there. And this year, Mahomes has been sacked more than he ever has been sacked previously. So he's taking more sacks than normal. We've actually seen this exact thing happen to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl when they played Tampa, when they couldn't stop any of that defensive front. The Eagles have an opportunity to do something like that. I think Nolan Smith is one of the guys they can lead on. Plus 108, Nolan Smith to record a sack. Back to you, my friend.
My next one, tradition like no other. First half under 24.5. First half unders 12, 6 and 1, 67% over the last 19 Super Bowls when the total is 24.5 or more, 8 and 1. Andy Reid coached teams 3 and 1 to the first half under. Eagles went 10 and 7 to the under first half during the regular season. This is those high pressure situations. Teams play cautious, look to avoid turnovers. Offenses are typically more conservative. When you look at these defenses, Eagles top defense per PFF, Chiefs number 2. DVOA, Eagles 1, Chiefs 12. Defensive coordinators are elite. I think they're going to look to take away what each offense looks to do the best. I think there's going to be a ton of halftime adjustments. Under 24.5 first half.
I'm going to go Mahomes over 28.5 rushing yards prop. He's coming off a career high 11 carries. He finished with 43 yards rushing. Aggressive Eagles defensive line, creating some opportunities for big scrambles. I believe you were talking about how Dave Weaver pointed out he's hit this number in all of the Super Bowls, right? And he's the all-time leader in quarterback rushing yards in the Super Bowl.
Yep, all-time leader. He's gone over this total of 20.5 in every single game.
So love that there. Mahomes over 28.5 rushing yards props. Back to you.
Saquon Barkley under 116.5 rushing yards. Chiefs allowed 106.7 rushing yards per game, ninth fewest in the league. Regular season, no running back rush for over 85 yards against them. The most in the playoffs was Joe Mixon, 88, and their ninth DVOA against the run, 10th PFF defending the run. Against PFF top 11 defenses, Barkley only averaged 73 yards per game. Barkley against teams ranked in the top 15 DVOA against the run, 101 yards per game. Game flow. The Eagles, everything runs through Barkley. Spags is one of the best DCs in the game. He's going to make priority number one stopping Barkley, forcing the Eagles to win through the air. I think this number is inflated, obviously, because of the Commanders and the Rams and the Packers game. Offensive line concerns, Dickerson, Jordans, Johnson, all banged up. Barkley was on the sidelines with the massage gun working that calf. I just think with how good Kansas City has been against the run and also with how good, with how banged up the Eagles offensive line is, I'm going to take the under.
I'm on the same one as you are. I'll just add a couple of points. Yeah, we talked about Spags. They've never allowed a 100-yard rusher with Spags as the DC in the playoffs. It's been 18 straight games without an individual 100-yard rusher. And just comparing who have the Eagles played in their last couple weeks, the Commanders and the Rams, who were two of the worst teams stopping the run. And now they're going to step up and play one of the better teams stopping the run. That's very good scheme-wise. And that's entire job is going to be, we have to take the big runs away from Barkley. We have to make Hurts beat us, throwing the ball down the field to Smith, to Brown, to Goddard. That's what we have to do. You and I are both on the Barkley under the rushing yards. And yeah, I mean, versus you went through some of the DVOA stats versus the top 11 versus the top, I think 6. Everything is different for him against the better defensive teams, against the better teams stopping the run. I mean, that makes sense. He's beat up on the teams that were, really bad stopping the run. That's what you do when you're good. But this is going to be a little bit different here. Eric, just another tech called on LMU right now.
That was brutal last night. I mean, that's the one thing that sucks about college basketball. Sometimes you stay up for these games and you just tech after tech after tech after tech. It was brutal last night.
Awful. Thoughts on the Tampa Bay stakes race yesterday? Yeah, you know what? Let's make some money. The horse that won, John Hancock, is only making his second start. He's a speed horse. So I give him credit for what he did. He only got an 85 buyer in winning that race. So it wasn't like the strongest race so far in the Sam F. Davis. And just to compare, there was a horse that ran at Aqueduct yesterday named Sand Devil, who was just facing like New York bred horses in a way, way softer race. He earned a 93 buyer, and this horse earned an 85, John Hancock, in winning. So yeah, I agree with you. I wasn't all that impressed with the Tampa Bay stakes yesterday, which was the Sam F. Davis. They'll have one more stakes race at Tampa for the Kentucky Derby points, which will be the Tampa Bay Derby coming up next month. So, yeah, Bobby mentions it too. Take away the big runs. He's been marginal on the down to down. We saw the Rams do that. They just couldn't take away the big runs. They stopped him on the down to down with just 2 big ones that gashed them. Eric, I hand it back to you. Where do you go for your next play?
My next one, I'm going to Sizzler if he has a good game. Devontae Smith. I got this really early. I took over 49.5 yards receiving. I also bet him MVP 66-1. Spags, one of the best in the game. Look, 1, Barkley, 2, Brown, 3, Hurts' legs. So that means Goddard or Smith are going to be in favorable coverage. This approach will likely open up favorable matchups for Devontae Smith in the passing game. He ranks second on the team during the playoffs, yards, receptions, third in targets for the entire season, second in receiving yards. When we look at how he's done against the Spags defense, 9 targets, 7 receptions, 107 yards per game in the Super Bowl. 9 targets, 7 receptions, 100 yards 2 years ago. A.J. Brown, massive game in the conference final. Goddard's been money. Obviously, Barkley's been money. I think this line is a little down when you look at everything. So I'll take Devontae Smith over the 49.5. And I'm going to play him, as I said, MVP. I feel that for whatever reason, people don't like Jalen Hurts. I don't know why. I love the kid. But for whatever reason, people don't like him. If Smith goes 110, 2 touchdowns, I think he'll win the MVP.
And I'm going Hurts over the 2. I went to a Hurts adjusted passing total. I went to Hurts to hit 250 plus passing yards. That's a plus 225 number. He basically hit that last week when he had 246 yards passing, and they didn't even need to throw the ball at all late in that game. I mean, they were destroying Washington, so they were just running the ball there late. 304 yards passing in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So he was struggling for a little while this year, throwing the ball. And I don't know about struggling, Eric. They were so good running the ball that they just kind of got away from throwing the ball. And then a few weeks, like sometimes you get away from doing it when you need to go down and get it. It's not there as much, but they showed last week Hurts was healthy. He can still connect with these guys. I like Hurts 250 plus passing yards, plus 225. I have one more play, Eric. How about for you?
I have a couple more.
Yeah, so you keep going, and then I'll finish it up. You keep going, and let me know.
I'll knock out all the rest of mine. More points, second half than first half. Just love betting this trend. Game flow logic. Teams start out tight. Second half, it starts to open up. Last 20 years, second half total has gone over 55% of the time. But when we look at this trend, in particular, the last 25 years, 17, 7, and 1. This has happened 68%. I just feel that it's going to be a game of adjustments. And the reason I like to do this one is when your Rams played the Patriots, it was like a 3-0, 6-0 game at half. Then there was a touchdown score in the second half. I win the bet.
Yep.
So I like playing it this way instead of the over in the second half. I got the Goddard over receiving yards, but I got this when it first opened up at 45.5. This is dipping up to 50, 51. So I'm not going to share that because I wouldn't play at its total price. Jalen Carter over half a sack, over at plus 126, over 1.5 sacks, 1.5 sacks at plus 850, and a small bet at 100-1 MVP. Chiefs allowed 41 sacks during the regular seasons, 2 to the Texans, 3 to the Bills. Eagles elite pass rush, rated as the best pass rush in the league per PFF. When we look at the interior offensive line of the Chiefs, that's their weakness. Caliendo, 43 PFF pass blocking grade. Smith, 67. Carter is just going to be planted over Caliendo. He's going to have his way with him. And this is going to force the Chiefs to make some adjustments. They look to double. And if they do look to double, then we got Williams and Nolan Smith in one-on-one coverage. 51 hurries for Carter, 5th most in the league. And look, if he gets 2 sacks and this is like a 17-10 game, I mean, dude, this could knock it up for him. So I'll play that. And the last one, Juju Smith-Schuster over 14.5 yards. We forget that 2 years ago when he was in this Rashid Rice role, he was top 10 in yards after catch. Had 3 targets, 2 receptions, 31 yards against the Bills. But the big thing for me is against the Texans, he had a 41% snap share. He played 41% of the snaps. Last 2 weeks ago against the Bills, 58% of the snaps. He is clearly leapfrog D-Hop to be the number 3 wide receiver here. Fangio scheme is going to look to stop Kelsey, Worthy, and Brown. This is going to leave Juju in a great position where he could potentially be matched up with Reed Blankenship, who gave up 11 and 104 to Zach Ertz. So, and also last Super Bowl against these Eagles, 9 targets, 7 receptions, 53 yards. My last bet, Juju Smith-Schuster over 14.5.
My final one, Eric, Total fourth down conversions over 2.5. We have two aggressive teams. One of the teams is up. We're definitely going to get a few of those fourth down conversions. Think about the tush push that the Eagles have. If we get that once or twice on fourth down, that'll help this quite a bit. It's plus 140. If we get over 2.5. We've made it, my friend, to the end of another one. I want to just point out a couple questions from the comments section. Thoughts on Cup being traded? Anywhere you think he could go, Erik?
I know people are saying Lions. I think that would be idiotic.
Yeah, I don't think they need him.
I mean, the Texans make sense.
Yeah, Texans would be a good spot.
You have the money. Bills make sense, obviously.
Bills could be a nice one too, like just like a nice possession receiver they could use for a big first down. Yeah, I think Bills would be the one that I would go to. Like he's too old to go to a team like the Patriots who could always use receiving, but I don't know if he's the guy. Like I think they want someone who's a little bit younger to pair up with a guy like Drake May, or maybe go draft someone. So yeah, that feels like a good spot. Maybe some of those veteran teams like the Bills, maybe the Texans who could use an extra receiver. Erik, final thoughts, my friend, before we finish up here.
No, hopefully let's go Eagles. Hopefully they can get it done.
Another good season in the books. Good luck to everyone out there. Don't forget, free to enter, pick'em.santanita.com. You can win $3,000 today. Erik won one of those when it was $1,000 prize. And also pick 6 carryover at Santa Anita. Get involved with all of the action today over at Santa Anita. Erik, man, thanks so much. Another fantastic year. Wish you the best of luck in all your plays today. We wish everybody the best of luck. Erik will join me on my podcast in the coming weeks to kind of start to dip into basketball now. I'm sure come March Madness time, we'll do something for the brackets, a bracket breakdown. But yeah, we'll shift to basketball now for a lot of our analysis and a lot of our focus. Good luck to everyone out there. We'll see you again very soon talking sports right here on our YouTube channels. That's what G Said podcast and the ETOF 21 Sports. Erik, anything else before we say goodbye?
No, good luck, everyone. It's been a good year. Let's finish on a high note.
Awesome. Best of luck. Should be about as good of a game as we could have asked for.